Welcome back to Got Item, the show where I show off talents that I don't really have.
Last time on Got Item, drama, murder, romance, a risky reward, and an avian identity that always seems to come next.
Within Majora's Mask, there are quite a few masks that don't really serve a purpose other than unlocking other masks later on. These first masks are often obtained just from talking to the right person at the right time. The first of these is often the Bremen Mask. You obtain the mask by talking to the music box guy, Guru, when he's sitting by the laundry pool on the night of the first or second day. Believe it or not, playing a super loud music box in your crew's hotel room late at night is never really appreciated, so he was kicked out. During his night ramblings, he tells Link that he once stole a musical mask that allowed him to command animals to march. He joined the circus soon after, and even though an item that forces animals to march would be really helpful in a circus, Guru decides he doesn't really need it anymore and gives it to Link. The Bremen Mask, like I said earlier, allows you to lead animals in a march. Aside from being fun for about 20 seconds, this mask also unlocks the ability to get one of the most useful masks in the game. In order to do so, you have to head over to Romani Ranch once the boulder that was blocking it has been cleared by the worker. Within Romani Ranch, you should head over to the chicken coop over on the left, next to the doggy racetrack. Once you're there, you'll meet Grog, sitting down in front of a tree. He's sulking because he won't be able to see the surrounding Cuckoo chicks mature into adults before the moon destroys Termina. Using the Bremen Mask, if you collect all the chicks in the yard into a line, they, for some reason, immediately spring up into adults. After seeing the grown-up cuckoos, Grog is overwhelmed with happiness, at least as much as his face is capable of showing. After which, he gives you the bunny hood, which we will get into in the next episode. To make the Bremen Mask, I initially hoped to use longer and more sturdy feathers to give it a better shape, but I wasn't able to find any in stores near me, and I didn't feel like waiting for weeks if I ordered some online, especially for how overpriced they were. What I did manage to find for this one was a bag of very soft decor feathers. So then to get the shape, I scratched a rough shape into the foam with my fingernail, refined it, and then cut out the piece with scissors. Then I flipped it and traced it and had a second piece. Once I glued the tips together, I sealed the gap in between them and had a beak. Then I cut out another piece to seal the gap at the top, and had a face as well. Once I had the pieces glued, I used my heat gun to bend the face into a curved shape, and then taped the wings backward to ensure a round shape in the sides of the face. The next day, I untaped it and let the wings fray out a little bit. Then I used the heat gun again to fan them forward slightly. Once I had the shape I wanted, I realized that just covering the thing in feathers would lose the depth the mask has in-game. So I traced out a crude line about 2/3 into each side of the mask, and then cut them off. After I cut them off, I glued them back onto the mask, but I had them slightly recessed a bit, to make sure the depth would be visible once the feathers were glued on. I did the same thing a little closer to the center of the face, and ended up with 3 different levels of depth on the fanned feathers of the mask. Once I had a shape I was happy with, I primed the foam with a spray-on primer while still in my living room. Don't ever do this, that's a bad idea, and the whole place smelled like primer for about 3 days. Once I had it primed, I painted the beak and talon things yellow, and painted the rest white. Then I painted on some crude eyes. Once I had the thing painted, I began gluing on feathers, trying to keep them fanning along the shape of the foam. Once I had a good amount on there, I took barber scissors and started trimming the feathers down to keep the shape nice and tight. This made a massive mess. The video footage does not do it justice. There were feather bits everywhere. It took a whole lot of lint rollers and vacuuming until they were cleaned up. Anyways, once the feathers were trimmed and cleaned up, I cut out black eye sockets out of felt. I glued them over the originals I painted, and then painted 2 foam eyeballs to glue onto the felt. Once the eyes were glued on, I thought it needed more depth to have the angry eyes that the actual mask has. Without any other colors of feathers, I painted the feathers around the eyes both black and gray. Once I finished painting, I gave the feathers another quick cleanup trim, and we were done. Compared to the previous mask, I think I got the shape of this one done pretty good. The feathers were a bit of a nightmare to work with, and if I had the chance, I would have liked to use better quality feathers. But I think overall the mask looks pretty good. That's 4 down with 20 left. This next one makes 2 animal masks in a row. I'm not a furry, I promise. Now if you'll excuse me, I've got some dogs to walk.